Safety is important to everybody out here. The worst thing in the world that can happen is somebody gets injured and doesn't go home the same way that they came in, so that they can provide for the families. And, this is for anybody that's worked in a refinery type situation, and many other jobs probably feel the same way. You develop a second family out here, and safety is thought of as the highest concern for all of us.
It's always good to get recognized, but I think at the end of the day, when you go home and you don't have no injuries to you, and you can go home and hug your family and love your family, and not spend time at the hospital, that you've done what you really want to do on a personal matter.
This is a new business for me, and we have a lot of hazards and risks here, and one thing I really see is that people know them, they take them seriously, they know what they need to do.
I think that everyone out here takes safety pretty seriously. The vast majority of people out here want to intervene. They want to do the right thing. They want to make sure that not only that they go home safe, but that their coworkers go home safe.
I believe safety really is kind of the cornerstone of life at Shell.
My father was also a chemical engineer working at a chemical plant, and I could see how the pressures played on him. And unfortunately, way back when he was working, it was very commonplace for people to get killed at work. And so it was almost annually that he would come home and tell us about someone that, in the worst case was missing, and they didn't find him for days. I mean, he fell into the water and got sucked in, or people had gotten crushed between rail cars, fallen into reactors, and you could imagine how gruesome that is. And I could see that affecting my father and bring that home. He knew these people.
And we've come quite a long way from where we used to be. In the past, there'd be the perception that, well, if I keep reporting it and nothing ever gets done, it must not be as important as I think it is. So we learned to accept abnormal conditions as part of our normal daily routine. And now that's been recognized as not acceptable anymore. And so we have shifted, as an organization, to recognize these shortcomings in our previous behavior and change it around so that it becomes the number one priority in our daily lives.
As far as training, I like to share a lot of personal experiences that I've had in the field. So I take people out, and if it's going out to work at a tank farm at night, I talk to them about the importance of flashlights. I talk to them about the importance of letting the wildlife know they are there, so they don't startle the wildlife and the wildlife don't startle them. And then, we've done a lot here lately as far as start the day with safety, and going out in the field and meeting with the people and giving them a say about what's going on and sharing experiences that's going on around not only the industry but here in Martinez.
A lab is all about safety. You are doing things to samples that you would not be doing out in the regular field. While we don't have the sheer volume that you would have out in the field, you're working with a huge array of samples, and you're doing things like setting them on fire, which you would not do anywhere out in the refinery. We're working with a lot of things under pressure, in different temperature conditions. So there are always things you have to be looking out for in the lab, because you never really know what's going to happen, but you have to be very, very vigilant to make sure that you're paying attention to everything, both for yourself and for your coworkers.
Whenever I go out and I'm part of the permitting process, there's always the potential of hazards that need to be mitigated. So depending on the day, every single permit creates a possibility of potential safety issue. A lot of the plants run at elevated temperatures, elevated pressures. We want to keep all the process in the pipe, because most of the processes out here will immediately react with oxygen, and they like to burn, and we don't want to see that, right? And the processes that don't burn are maybe not so kind of human health.
And I think the journey we're on is in constantly keeping that chronic unease and reminding ourselves what it is that we need to do to protect ourselves. And frankly, some of the things that injure ourselves, aren't the hydrocarbons or some of the things that we would naturally presume are and they are the big hazards at the refinery. But there's walking, twisting your ankle, getting a cut on something that isn't even a process piece of equipment. So it's I think one of the challenges here that we have to remind ourselves, safety is beyond what's in the pipes.
There's a lot of discussion about it. Our management side, our upper leadership teams and stuff have recognized that there's a tremendous amount of work and a tremendous amount of exposure out here, and so safety is constantly integrated into each and every hour of every day. People are talking about it all the time.
We have morning safety meetings every day going over various safety topics. Obviously on One Stop Shopping you have a lot more safety topics. We go through at every rotation meeting different things that people have found safety related, along with other issues throughout the lab, but safety topics as well. Just making sure that everyone's aware of things that certain individuals have found. So we have a lot of opportunities for safety.
It's a new experience there that they call keeping everything small. We just started here, and I like that because there might have been a time when we might have seen a pump drip or heard a noise that we really wouldn't say anything. But now people are more focused on getting that word out and sharing that word and getting it out with the 0 to 60s, and then everybody knows, hey, this is happening, and it's not only getting the word out to your department and your fellow operators, but it's complex-wide now.
We have safety awarenesses that are on shift. We start every day with safety. We start our starter shift orientations with safety. And that basically transmits a safety message. If we had any recent incidents, we try to transmit it out there so it gets people thinking about what they can do, thinking about if they're going to be in a similar situation, how can they do it in a safe way.
The reason we have permit to work, the reason that we have protection against falling, where you make sure what you're wearing, fall protection, all these things, and we put these rules in place. What we're really talking about and what we're trying to do is so that people don't get injured, don't get hurt, don't get killed, really, for life-saving rules. That's why it's life-saving. I like to really bring it down to why we're doing it. It has completely to do with everything with people going home safe, right?
It's gotten very sophisticated. We use a lot of tools and metrics to measure, our performances. We use a lot of investigative techniques and tools to understand what the root causes are of events or incidents so that we can not only understand them, but come up with better recommendations as to how to remove the hazard. Ideally, that's what our goal is to remove the hazard so that it never repeats itself again.
We treat our contractors, we care about their safety just like we care about the safety of Shell employees. A lot of the permits that I do are with a contractor as a counterparty, and there's nothing that I do differently that I wouldn't do for a Shell employee as far as mitigating hazards and making sure that they work in a safe way.
I think that the fact that our current safety record is in place at this moment, I think that's a huge sign that it's not just you're looking out for big hazards, it's that you're changing the mentality of how you work. You're trying just in everything you do just to be safer, not just looking at it, but naturally doing it. I feel that safety really is something that people think about even when they're not thinking about it.
So right now we're on a 213-day streak with no recordable injuries, and that record is made by people at every job, every day, looking at how they can do it in a safe way. And that can't happen without a wide-ranging, top-down safety culture where everyone feels that they have the commitment to stop work if they see an unsafe act, ask questions when they think that the hazard hasn't been mitigated.
So it's goal zero now, not down the road. And so what I think we've seen is individually, we've all done that, right? And collectively, what you see is we're 212 days. And how do we get further ahead? It's to continue doing that. It's what am I doing right now? What am I going to be doing in the next, minute?
We all have a common goal, and that goal is goal zero. Nobody wants to get hurt, so I think that with the meetings that we have in these days, the ability to speak about what's going on in your plant has made a real difference and where we're at. And you know, I believe that the dedication and the commitment that we have to not getting gold, that we can continue this going on for months and years to go. You know,
If we set a goal at 0, as unrealistic as that may be, you know, it enforces it right off the get-go that even 1 is not acceptable. It's not acceptable for us. If any one single person gets injured, it needs to be understood, and we need to figure out a better way for people to be able to come to work safely, work without fear of getting injured, and be able to communicate effectively without fear of reprisal.
I want to make sure that everything we're doing, we could be doing it better. Because things that they were doing 10, 20, 30 years ago would in no way be acceptable by today's standards. So who's to say that what we're doing today can't be vastly improved? I just want to make us as the best we possibly can be.
That was the other point, which is let's not allow luck to make the difference between it being goal 0 or not. Right? Let's take luck out of it, and let's take it down to goal 0 of all injuries.
It can be done. We can do it, and we will do it. We just got to take it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time.